Once again, we have a question where we are not able to really arithmetize here. We can maybe use the calculator to check, but because they're asking for the value of b, which is just the part that's attached to the x, we can't make this x disappear. The x has to kind of stay around so that we can tell what's the b term from the c term and the a term. So luckily, this is kind of just telling us to FOIL. So some of you are going to be able to recognize that the b term is going to be both of the x terms multiplied and then added at the end. But I worry that in your desire to take some sort of very insignificant shortcut, you are going to mess it up. So my advice is this is a very simple FOIL. Just FOIL these things out, right? The first terms are 3x times 19x. Now, I don't know 3 times 19 in my head, so 3 times 19 in a calculator is 57x squared. Then this one I can do, 18x. This one I can't, so 23 times 19 is negative 437x. And then 23 times 6, don't lose those negatives, but 138. Now the b term, remember, is going to be from combining these, right? So we're just lining this up, ax squared plus bx plus c. So always when we FOIL, the b term needs to be added in the middle, but that's it. That's all they want us to do. So 18 minus 437 is negative 419x. So that's it, negative 419. My biggest concern here actually is that some of you are just going to forget the negative and just think that the 419 is what we want because you're like, oh, it's plus bx, and so you're kind of just ignoring the negative. But remember, whether something is a minus sign or a negative sign it's not an either or. It's both, right? So we can think of it as negative 419, but when we were to put it in the full equation, we would just kind of think of it now as a minus, but it's still a negative. Right? It's just how we want to think of it. If we want to think of it as an individual coefficient, number in front of an x, then that negative or whatever the sign is comes with the number, right? So just remember, that's a very important idea. If you don't get that, then you basically don't get half of algebra. So you will make lots of mistakes losing negatives because you're not seeing them as attached to the number. But hopefully everyone who's got this point taking the SAT understands that. So that's a very important point just for basic algebra.